We are back, Salty. It is so good to see you. How are you
It,
doing?
I'm doing great. You know why, Purple Valkyrie? Because it's
Why is that?
wild, weird, wonderful weekend. Woo woo. Hey, everybody in chat. Everybody's been popping in. Look at it. We got Sarah Green, Dempsey, Jaden Hamilton. All the rest of the people are here. Purple, you can read them off. Go ahead.
Yes, we've got Nerdporeal. Great to see you as always. We've got your Barmy who requested a poll, which I see you guys are voting in. Thank you so much.
Ooh.
And we've got Smile a While for me as well. Good to see you guys. Thank you. It's been a while. I know. I'm sorry. Nothing dire has happened. It's just life gets in the way as it does, and
Yeah.
but we still enjoy doing Woo Woo, so we are very, very glad to be back. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Been talking a lot about a terrible TV show that should have been something fantastic with Prophet of the Dragon, Nerdporeal Lifeform, Amanda Manatharin, the guys from White Cloaks, a whole bunch of people. And it's just kind of nice to have a palate cleanser and talk about alien mermaids, doomsday fish, and no, that's not a reference to Joe Biden and other things like that. We have so many cool articles today, and please hit the thumbs up on this. Vote in the poll. As a matter of fact, Purple Valkyrie, I'm going to take a look at the poll and see who's leading here.
Yes.
Like, what is your poll? Like, what is your poll? What? And this is what do you find more believable? Leading with 56% is the universe is older than we thought. In second place is the UFOs in the news are a distraction.
Ooh, okay.
In
Interesting.
a distant third place is doomsday fish. And nobody voted for alien mermaids are real. I'm disappointed in that. I'm a little disappointed.
Wow. We hope to change your mind. Spoiler alert. But, Salty, you've got some really cool stuff to kick off with today, and we did have a theme for the show, and then it went out the window, so we're just gonna.
Sarah Green says we're gagging down here from the jet stream, shifting south and sending Canadian mountain air down to us as well. I know I was out on the marine layer, which is when it's a thick layer of fog today when I walked 5 miles. It came in off the ocean and it was tinted with another Canadian export. And no, it's not the stupidity of Justin Trudeau. So it is kind of fascinating out there. Yeah, your Barmy says James Cameron already discovered alien mermaids in the abyss. That could have been a great movie. I worked in a movie theater when that came out. It's a decent movie, but I didn't like the ending.
Yeah, didn't age well, but yeah. It was pretty cool, I've got to admit. So, Salty, what would you like to kick us off with today?
I have some cool stuff. Purple, let me know when you got this.
And let me bring this in.
This comes from the cesspool known as TikTok, and no, it's not a thought. This is actually a volcano in Ecuador. And look at what this darn thing does. Check it out.
Okay, that looks amazing.
I'm going to pause this because no, lightning is not striking the volcano when somebody played a game and reversed it. When you have significant volcanic activity, volcanoes create their own lightning storms.
Yes. So this is actually coming out of the volcano.
This is coming out of the volcano. So as if you didn't have enough to worry about with lava and pyroclastic flow, there's freaking lightning that's shooting up into the sky. And look, that
looks amazing.
I mean, add it to the list of crazy, wonderful things. It's just, we are very blessed, and I'm not going to apologize for that word, to live on such a beautiful planet. I wish all of these people would quit spraying stuff in the sky to make it something happen. I'm just going to say that. You can look out your window. I think you won't believe it. But,
yeah, you know what we're talking about.
Who else do we got? We got Ms. Martin Uses, who recently got monetized. Yes, she worked her butt off. I was lucky enough to get to go on her show and talk about Hemingway and bourbon. It's so great to see you. Dempsey is here.
That's a hell of a combination.
I know. Hemingway and bourbon and firearms. That sounds like a good time to me. Nathan Amanda Manethrin is here. Look at this, flirting with you.
look at this. The man with the best beard on YouTube. Good to see you, Nathan. We've got the lovely Leia Rose. Hello, sweetheart. Great to see you as always. Dempsey, hey there. Good to see you. So, Salty, that is kind of amazing. And I was surprised when you showed that volcano. I knew, around volcanoes you do get the lightning, but I've never seen it come up that clearly from the storm. So, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah, sorry, StreamYards is acting weird for a second, so I got a brain fart on that one. I'm excited. Now, you have a couple articles that I am super stoked about. I don't know which one you're gonna do first, but there's one about Jaws, and I can't wait for it. That may not be this one. Okay, let's do this one.
It's not. No, I'm gonna jump into this one first, because this one caught my eye actually only a few hours ago, which was kind of cool. So this only came out on the 14th of this month. So apparently, an 18,000-year-old relic has been discovered in Oregon, which is possibly the oldest home in North America, which is
Which
cool.
is exactly where the line would have been from, I believe it's called the Cascadian Glacier.
Mhm.
That was there because in southern Oregon and those portions of Oregon, there was a massive ice sheet that was in the northern parts that covered Washington state, but it just barely kind of clipped Oregon, and it was around the Columbia River Gorge, which is part of why the Columbia River Gorge was also formed by rapid ice water melting back in the day. This doesn't surprise me at all, but of course it doesn't fit the narrative that there were no human beings here.
Exactly, that there were no people in North America this early on, but this kind of throws that out of the window, which I'm always glad to see that happen.
I hope they ignore this scientific evidence just like they did with the
I'm
coal
sure they will.
back in 2020, Yeah.
So it says when and where the first people appeared in North America is a debated subject that many can't agree on, among other things. It was previously said that the oldest house in North America was located in Idaho. Paleo Indians used the 12,500-year-old dwelling during the Ice Age. However, a new discovery has been made in Oregon that gives us reason to investigate other locations when searching for clues shedding light on our ancient ancestors.
Yeah.
Pretty darn cool.
Yeah, just like all those mammoth bones in tusks that they found in California when they were digging a road, and no one would accept that they were hundreds of thousands of years older than what all of the experts said it could be. So therefore they've discounted it.
Funny how that works. Yeah, if it
just
doesn't
like
fit the
cloth
narrative.
masks, just like cloth masks didn't work, and they didn't work before March of 2020. They didn't work after March of 20. They don't work now. Just
no,
gonna lay that
right
there.
It's not a thing. So, Oregon archaeologists have found evidence suggesting humans occupy the Rimrock Draw rock shelter outside of Riley, Oregon, more than 18,000 years ago, which is kind of awesome. The University of Oregon. Yeah?
I was going to say, I don't think they had homeless people in the streets then. I think you had to work for a living. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days.
They didn't last for very long. You got eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something, if you weren't a useful part of the tribe.
You just gave me a great idea. Maybe we can clone saber-toothed tigers and let them loose in Seattle and Portland. Chat, what do you think about that? I think it's a good idea. I'd watch that on television. Sorry.
Well, no, they seem determined on bringing back every other extinct species, everything from mammoths to dodos. So why not bring back a predator as well? Make things fun.
I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
That's all. So what did they actually find? So they discovered on the site stone tools, extinct mammal tooth fragments from the Pleistocene era. Pieces of tooth enamel are identified as bison and camel. Who knew they had camel back then? I bet they were huge and even more horrible than the ones we have now. I actually hate camel, just as a side note. But in 2012...
I've never eaten it. I've never eaten it.
I've been wanting to give it a go. There's a lot of things I've tried, but camel hasn't been on it yet.
I was going to make a joke about camel toe, but I'm not that classless. Okay.
So in 2012, this goes back a while, the team found the camel tooth fragments under a layer of volcanic ash from eruption of Mount St. Helens. Now, anybody who knows Mount St. Helens know that it erupts quite regular. Remember when the last time it went off? I bet you do, Salty.
Yeah, we actually watched a documentary about that recently
Mm-hmm.
together, preparing for the show. And I remember being in elementary school, and they wheeled in the big television like on a cart, and had all of us watch, because we'd never seen anything like this in North America, obviously within our lifetime. Now, the last time Mount St. Helens had exploded was 1847, if I remember correctly. And again, it's just a bunch of people drinking moonshine, looking for gold in the hills, so nobody really believed them. So when this thing blew up, and they knew it was coming, which is a whole other story, and we should do a show about like just all the finger pointing. And some guy who's a total Chad hero, who owned a campground, he's 82 years old, and went, "I'm not leaving," who is my spirit animal. Nobody saw this coming. So yeah,
it's kind of incredible. And one of the other shows I want to talk about is how myths and legends have portrayed different disasters throughout the ages, but that's another story for another stream. But this particular eruption, as it says, was over 15,000 years ago. The team also uncovered 2 finely crafted orange agate scrapers. Very cool.
Ooh, I want an orange agate scraper. I really do. If it's especially if it's carnelian. Carnelian is a beautiful stone. But I collect agates all the time, and I've never found an agate scraper in all of my wandering.
No, or an orange one for that matter. Yes.
No.
So it says the natural layering of the rock sediment suggests that the scraper were older than both the volcanic ash and the camel tooth found. I've got camel toe stuck in my head now. Thank you, Stoltz.
It could be worse. Look at Manamenethrin. He's talking about moose knuckle. I'm like, what are we doing here? This is a legitimate show about science, guys. All right? I'm talking to you, Nathan. Take it seriously, moose knuckle.
Let's see who else we've got, since we've got more people. We've got Soul Assassin, great to see you. We've got Keck44. We've got Naughty Monkey Olaf, great to see you. And we've got our favourite vampire in the chat, Salty.
Which one is that?
Good.
Oh, my Boxwine brother. Yeah, I had that. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. That's Blasferatu the Blamplier, who puts the BL on. He puts the BL in BLM. So, yeah.
So this is the camel tooth enamel, apparently. Okay, I guess that's what they found.
But they were North American camels, so they were very different than the Eurasian camels that we're finding now. And if I remember correctly, they were hella bigger, like every other thing was during the Ice Age.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that? Part of the reason was there was so much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the plants could get bigger. But hey, we can't talk about that because reasons.
I thought that was supposed to be bad for us. Yes, I'd love to do a show about the megafauna. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the lizard people.
So just to wind up, so it says the identification of 15,000-year-old volcanic ash was a shock. Then Tom's 18,000-year-old dates on the enamel with stone tools and flakes below were even more startling, O'Grady said in the press statement. Presently, Cooper's Ferry, another archaeological site on BLM managed public lands.
That's the Bureau of Land Management, not the grifter We Buy Bigger Mansions organization. For those following
I was
along
wondering in Idaho. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is thought to be the oldest known site in Western North America. As evidence there suggests human occupation dating back more than 16,000 years. So what does this all mean? It means that, once again, science doesn't know all of the answers. And I'm actually kind of glad that that's the case, because we are finding more and more interesting stuff every day, and that humans were in the North Americas far earlier than we first thought.
Yes,
really cool.
In the words of Sherlock Holmes, no shit. I was going to say that.
Now we got? Here we go.
This is one of those money shot articles. This is one of those salty porn woo articles that I just could not get behind. It's coming from one of the more trusted names in journalism, the New York Post. You can all read the title. It says, mystery alien creature baffles scientists. It's what the fuck is a doomsday fish? Dude? Steve, I had to mute my phone because you guys are blowing it up. This is a true story. Nerdporial is trying to rewatch The Rings of Power, and we're all shaming him. And like, what are you doing? Anyway, that's not the show. We will get to the Doomsday Fish. This is about an alien who looks exactly like a mermaid. Now, I'm going to do some complicated voodoo. This is what you do when you've been live streaming for multiple years, and you won't screw this up.
Disney.
Yeah. This has no diverse dwarves at all. Now I have to go back to the article and not talk to myself while I do it. So I'm probably super backlit by my laptop, but I don't care. So this comes to us from Australia, where everything tries to kill you, including your government. So this is a photo resembling an alien mermaid that washed ashore in Australia, and it sent the internet into a tizzy. People were trying to guess what the hell this thing is. Now, this macabre-looking flotsam first came to light via a post on Marine Biology, a Facebook group that's making waves. Quote, "It was exactly like a mermaid shape," said the person who uploaded this, whose name is Bobby Lee. Go ahead and judge. Bobby Lee Oates. Of the skeletal remains she claims she stumbled across while walking on a beach in Keppel Sands, Queensland. Quote, "We were driving along the beach looking for a campsite, and we couldn't help but notice how much of the skull looked to be in the shape of a human. So we instantly stopped from the confusion as to what the hell this could be. Why does this look like a human skull?" So accompanying the photo shows an apparent oceanic enigma, one which boasts, look at it, it's got a dome-shaped humanoid skull on this thing with splayed out ribs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the Predator, but it could be the Predator. Purple, you're looking at this thing. What the hell is it?
I'm wondering what this is. I mean, it is Australia, so anything found lying on the beach or anywhere in particular is kind of sus. So I wouldn't be wanting getting too close to it. But to me, this looks like some sort of marine mammal, perhaps.
I got another picture I got to share with you guys, and I'm trying to do my best here because we haven't done this in a while. I'm gonna share this, which is gonna make it kind of challenging to read the article, but this gives you a little bit more creep factor to this. Look at this damn thing.
Okay, that's kind of freaky looking.
What the hell is this? What's going on in Australia? Is anybody from Australia can tell me, is this normal? Do you guys just like throw another shrimp on the Barbie, and if you're out of shrimp, you like got these goddamn things like off your shore? This is crazy stuff. We got Gray, Wakazashi's Tea House. We got Prophet of the Dragon is with us. You guys are awesome. Prophet says that looks like something I would put that on my lawn. I would.
Looks like a really cool Halloween decoration.
What the hell is this? I mean, seriously. All right, let's get back to the article real quick. What can I do?
Nerdporo says Dempsey keeps a UFO in his backyard.
Is that what they call it? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this so you guys can look at this other picture, and it's just going to have to...
Yes, and this picture gives an idea of how big this thing is because there's somebody standing next to it.
Well, and here's... God, look at all this crap on this website. Like, how can I read anything? So there's a human foot. I believe it's still attached to somebody, but there's another picture. So this thing was 6 feet long. And again, quote, you saw the pictures. It had a human-shaped skull with an elongated jawline and hair similar to the color of a cow or a kangaroo.
A little bit of difference between those two creatures.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they may have different types of cows. If it's a Highland Scottish cow, I could see it being kangaroo colored. But the hair was missing in many places due to decomposition. She continued, it was exactly like a mermaid shape, but hairy. Can somebody do a welfare check on Dylan Mulvaney? I know that person went to Peru. I'm just saying, could the whole Bud Light thing have finally gotten to them? Because it seemed to have a tail or limb of some sort. Beachcomber said that she initially thought she discovered a miracle new species. So is there a resolution to this story? Armchair biologists were willing to lend their theories. One says it doesn't look like a marine animal. It's got a leg. It's also very hairy. Others wrote that it was a mermaid. Local police got involved. Quote, "It looks like a dead sea lion," postulated one commenter. "Highly decomposed," but yeah, here's another picture of it. Look at this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that.
What the hell is this? Like, okay, if it's not a mermaid and it's a human with one leg that has a skull like a predator, I think we need to investigate this further. I'm just saying that. God,
and not kick it.
Alone. Somebody says this is a one-legged kangaroo carcass.
You don't get many one-legged kangaroos. I mean, obviously it wouldn't last very long, but I guess that's a possibility.
I think we've just given Disney another idea for what they can do with the next animated special. We need to have disadvantaged, differently abled kangaroos. Somebody said the project manager for the UK cetacean standings investigation program at the Zoological Society of London said definitely looks like a small cetacean to me after viewing the photos. Quote, "I'm not very familiar with the area or which species are normally found there, so I can't make up any other bullshit than that." So there you go.
That's
Nobody
from
knows
the experts.
what the hell this is. Like, nobody knows. Like, look at this damn thing. What the hell am I looking at? Like, what the hell is even that? Yeah. Seriously. Oh, Jesus.
I like to think it's a mermaid. I mean, logically, it's probably some sort of seal, but I'm going to go with freaky mermaid. I think until proved otherwise, that's what I'd like to go for.
What is chat saying? I'm missing everything because I'm over here reading this article. So, what do you guys think of this damn thing? I think it's freaking weird. Thanks to all 23 of you watching, by the way. It means a lot.
You guys are awesome. Max Relax says that is probably bones of some marine creature, but the bones at the front broken upwards, having sand stacked on it to make it mysterious. But seriously, it's proof aliens have landed unsuccessfully.
Yeah, Roswell, I don't know if they were letting the women drive or what happened there.
Ooh,
I don't care. I really don't care, you know? So, yeah.
I'm actually a good driver. Release McCracken, great to see you. Says
how many phone books do you have to sit on when you drive? I'm just because you are like the size of a lawn gnome. Like, let's be honest about it. Okay, see,
I could have been a dwarf in that sexist. New Snow White.
Yeah.
Release McCracken says something tells me that it's a dolphin with the front part of the nose broken off.
Wow, got in a bar fight.
Dempsey, wise words, says, do not try to milk a kangaroo.
Is that what Disney's doing? Is that the euphemism we can use for everything?
They're milking something.
There's a lot of jokes I want to make, which I can't because it's your channel. So yeah, say it.
Max says that is you. If you take weight loss way too far. Agreed.
So
always know when to stop.
It is Dylan Mulvaney, literally. I think that's where them ended up.
Godzillionaire, great to see you, says clearly that's Man Bear Pig. Agreed.
What is Oprah doing? Never mind, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, yeah.
And let me say hey to Zachrat315. Hello, love, great to see you. And Prophet says Salty murdered a mermaid, confirmed by images.
You could say call it a crime of passion. If you're going to judge me for that, Steve, if we're going to get into the judging war, just be careful. You live in a glass house. Let's just say that.
Notorial's dating us all. He says, "What's a phone book?" Oh, sweetheart.
I don't know what to say to that.
Stunned silence. Just one of those many things that wash ashore and shocks the world. And let me say hello to Dr. and author Adega Outlaw. Great to see you. Hello there.
Cheers, dude. It's awesome to see you.
So, since we're talking about weird things and connection to the ocean, recently, Salty and I watched a very famous film that's just had an anniversary. We watched Jaws, and you guys, most of you will have seen Jaws. But what we didn't realize until I actually went searching is there is a weird, unidentified murder connected with the film. So
the original movie. This was this was an actress in the movie who. Okay, I need. This is what I've been looking forward to. If I had popcorn, I would be shoving it in my mouth. Right?
So this is kind of weird, but she was known as the Lady of the Dunes, and it says, was the unidentified Cape Cod murder victim an extra in Jaws? Horror author Joe Hill seems to think so. Well, there you go. So, a little bit of background on Our Lady. She was found on July 26th, 1974, lying face down on a beach town in the dunes near Provincetown, Massachusetts. Yep. Her hands were missing.
Jesus!
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets weirder. Her hands were missing and small piles of pine needles were left in their place. That's kind of weird. Her head had been crushed and nearly severed from her body, possibly with some sort of military entrenching tool.
This is no boating accident. No propeller did this. I had to do it.
Oh, it just gets weirder and weirder.
So her hands are cut off. Somebody bashed her head in, and then they sprinkled pine needles over her. Okay, I got it.
No, not sprinkled over her. Left where the hands should have been. So they were left in like little piles.
That's even better.
Weird or what? But the police suggested she could have died weeks before the July 26th discovery. With no clear way to identify her, the victim soon became known as the Lady of the Dunes. As they do, so she was a Jane Doe. But who is she, and why was she so brutally slain, and who ended her life are all mysteries that remain unsolved to this day.
Wow.
When she was discovered, police conducted extensive searches of the surrounding dunes, combed through missing persons files, and compared tyre tracks found near the scene to those of countless vehicles. Good luck with that. Yet they found nothing to explain the murder of the Lady of the Dunes. And
your Barmy
Barmy
raises a good point. If you're in a sand dune, I've been out to Provincetown. There are pine trees, there are pines that grow around sandy areas like that, but if you're going to be on a beach towel in the sand dunes, there are generally not coniferous, not carnivorous, coniferous trees in proximity to that. Now, if there's anybody out there on Cape Cod who wants to contradict me, who's in chat, let me know. But somebody would have had to have brought those pine needles from someplace where there were pine trees all the way out to the far end of Cape Cod to then do that, which would mean it's ritualistic murder, which could indicate a serial killer. Sorry, Purple.
Indeed. No, you're absolutely right. And let me shout out a few more people. God's in here. So it's Joe Hill, that's Stephen King's son. You are absolutely correct. It is indeed. Your Barmy says, wow, this is grim. It gets even better.
It's not as grim as Disney's outlook for the next 5 years, but it's still pretty dark. It's true.
Felice McCracken is on your wavelength there, Salty.
Oh, very well, Spanish
ladies, farewell under you,
ladies of Spain.
Can't help it. I love that film.
I know.
It's so good.
I know. I'll drink to your leg. You drink to my arm. All right, go ahead. I'm going to shut up. Just read. I'm going to stop. Go ahead.
So this was a photo fit of some of the what we think the lady may have looked like, but let's get back. So these are the depictions of the victim created between 1979 and 2006. Let's see where this goes and what is the connection with Jaws. So what do we know about her? Precious little. She was anywhere between 20 and 49. A more precise identification made impossible by the condition of the body, and she'd been out there for quite a while, though she had dental work, including expensive crowns done in what police called the New York style. Not sure what that means. Consultants with dentists failed to yield any clues. Some of her teeth were removed, along with both of her hands and one forearm.
Wait a minute.
It's worse.
Wait a minute. So whoever this was chopped her hands off, bashed her head in with what they presume to be like a military entrenching tool, one of the short shovels, then sprinkled pine needles over and then ripped her teeth out?
Probably the teeth were crushed due to the blunt force trauma, but quite possibly. But it also says here her nearly severed head was cushioned on a pair of carefully folded Wrangler jeans and a blue bandana. Whoever did this took their time with it. She was then laid to rest later in 1974, but has since been exhumed several times in the years since. Facial reconstruction was performed in 1979. Her body was then brought back in 1980 and again in 2000 for DNA
How many
testing.
times are you going to dig this poor woman up and play with the parts? What the hell is wrong with you?
Rest.
They're resurrecting this chick more times than Disney is Snow White. This is insane. Chat, am I wrong? Seriously, like, what the hell is going on here? Did Bob Iger take inspiration from this?
So finally, in 2010, her skull, which hasn't been reinterred with the rest of her body, that's terrible, was put through a CT scanner in order to produce more accurate facial reconstructions.
Okay.
In 2004, serial killer Haddon Clark confessed to the murder of the Lady of the Dunes, saying he had evidence that the police needed buried in his grandfather's garden. Clark, however, suffers from paranoid schizophrenia, and the authorities doubt the veracity of his claims to this and several other murders.
I gotta tell you, here's the problem. Would you have crazy people out on the street telling you that they killed people, and you're like, you're too crazy to have done that? I don't know. I think we have some type of failures in the system. Maybe. Just look at Portland.
So something's gone wrong, yes.
Yeah.
And that was my dog kicking the thing behind me.
Normally it's me making all kinds of crazy noise, hitting my mic because I'm gesticulating like a Pentecostal preacher on meth. But I'm glad it was your dog today.
True story.
Yeah.
So let's get down to the meat of this story. So over the years, police as well as amateur sleuths have pursued and put forth a wide variety of possible leads. One time, the lady was thought to be a victim of another serial killer, Tony Costa, but Costa was convicted of his crimes in 1970 and then did away with himself in the May of 1974.
Good, thank you.
So if you're following the timeline, he couldn't have done
it. Yeah.
Others attribute her death to notorious mobster Whitey Bulger, who was known to have removed some of his victims' teeth, but no connection between the lady and him have ever been established. Other leads have also followed, including a number of missing persons, roughly matching the age. Remember, we had quite a range of ages to go for this lady.
The 70s were not a good time to be a single young lady in a lot of places. San Francisco, New York, Boston, like Philadelphia. It was just serial killer, like, central. It was like feeding frenzy time.
Lot of hitchhiking going on. Bad idea. Terrible idea. So all other leads have been followed, including a number of missing persons that roughly match the age of the lady. All of these have ultimately led to nothing having been ruled out, whilst investigators, both professional and amateur, maintained a continued interest. The case of the Lady in the Dunes has been cold since the 1970s until now.
What is this?
This is a scene from Jaws. This is supposedly our Lady of the Dunes. Wrangler jeans, blue bandana, matches the description, dark hair, and it looks like a lot of the photo fits that were done of her, if I just scroll back.
Yeah, the composites.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on with that one on the top right. It looks like they gave it to somebody, took acid, and they're like, draw a picture. I mean...
This one's kind of like from the 1700s. Like,
it kind of looks like Oprah Winfrey in The Color Purple, but I don't know.
This one, I guess, would be the closest to this, but let's have a look at her. So this is supposedly her. She was in a scene from Jaws. There's an extra as the camera pans across. It's where they're starting to celebrate the 4th of July, and there's the news reporter is doing interviews on the beach.
Yep, that's when the fairy scene comes in. And you're not wrong, Dempsey. It was a Gacy buffet. It's true. And then it, of course, became Dahmer's All You Can Eat later on. But Gacy buffet was popular for quite a while. Yeah.
I needed a Gacy buffet.
I don't know what to say to that. Sorry, go ahead.
So, in August of 2015, Joe Hill, the son, as you correctly said in chat, of the famous and slightly crazy now horror author Stephen King, came forward with a new theory. He'd been reading about the case of in Deborah Holbrook's book, The Skeleton Crew, How Amateur Sleuths Are Solving America's Cold Cases. He then watched Jaws at exactly 54 minutes 2 seconds. You can check for yourself, Chad, if you like. Into the film, he'll notice something strange. Among the crowd on the far left side of the screen stood a female extra dressed in jeans, a white t-shirt and blue bandana. She bore a striking similarity to the reconstructed images of the Lady of the Dunes.
That's wild.
It is. It is. So what if the young murder victim no one has ever been able to identify has been seen by hundreds of millions of people in a beloved summer classic and they didn't even know what they were looking at, Hill asks in his August 2015 post blog. What if the ghost of the Lady of the Dunes haunts Jaws? That's a little bit far-fetched, but what
I don't know. I look at Jaws 3 and I wonder if that's where things started to push for that franchise.
I mean, I'd love to do a show just about Jaws and just what a nightmare it was.
There's only two Jaws movies.
Yes.
Just like there's only 2.5 Indiana Jones movies.
There nearly wasn't one Jaws movie with the amount of problems that they had with filming.
It's true.
But,
and alcohol consumption. But yeah, I'll let you wrap it up.
So much alcohol. So what if Jaws was filming near Martha's Vineyard, not far from Provincetown, in June of 1974? Before the Lady of the Dunes met her untimely end, the film was a big deal in the area and attracted plenty of attention. Many locals showed up for the film's large crowd scenes. It is entirely possible that the lady was one of them. Extras were not tracked as carefully back then as they are today, and there is perhaps no way to know for sure who all these people are. Like so many things about this case, it provides another tantalizing mystery rather than a tidy solution. I don't know, I really like this. I'll wrap it up with this final one. So it says, whether the woman Hill spotted in the brief crowd scene in Jaws turns out to be the Lady of the Dunes, the theory has generated plenty of fresh interest in the case. As the lead investigator of Provincetown Police told People magazine, anything that generates interest is always good. I'd like to think that it was, and that we've finally seen what this lady looks like, and maybe somebody out there knows who she was, maybe friends, family recognize, and she can finally have a name and be put to rest. But I thought it was fascinating.
I would say it's even money that it is that young woman. Now, the one thing I think this article did get wrong is that somehow Martha's Vineyard is right next to Provincetown. It's not. Provincetown is all the way on the hook out on Cape Cod, and where you have Martha's Vineyard is essentially really close to the Rhode Island border. Now, these are very small states for America, but still, I mean, is it possible? Yes, but there's a little bit of driving going on. It's not like you walk across the street and you're from Martha's Vineyard and there's Provincetown.
Yeah, the way they make it's like they're right next door to each other, but clearly they're not. Sarah Green answers a question that I asked earlier. So New York style dentistry involves parcels and crowns and sometimes fillers to give the illusion of a completely filled in and even smile, symmetrical with each tooth being filled to the same length.
Wow.
I did not know that. Thank you.
Sarah Green, who knew that you were a font of dental reconstructive wisdom? That's freaking awesome. Thank you for that. So
Man,
yeah,
we have got Snowdub. Hey, he says, "Hey, Purple. Hey, same name."
Hey, what's up, dude? I watched your show the other night and gave you hell. I really got to say this. I think your show would be so much better without the horse or toaster. I'm just gonna drop that right here. Just some unsolicited advice, but that's just me. So.
And Snowdub asks a very important question. It says, "Where's the super chat button?" Don't worry, Purple hasn't been demonetized. I've actually turned monetization off because YouTube has been kind of getting on my nerves recently. So I wasn't doing this for the money anyway.
Yeah, there's a reason why I left YouTube for a while, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. There's a lot of creators out there who I've talked to who are not happy. We're just going to say that. But we're here to have fun. We're not here to talk about the realities of big tech nonsense. So Prophet of the Dragon asked, what the hell is a doomsday fish? Well, this is a doomsday fish, and Jesus Christ, put more shit on the screen. This again comes to us from the most trusted source of news ever, the New York Post. Divers encounter enormous doomsday fish riddled with shark bites, and I have the video. Here we go.
Wow, look at
Hold
that
on.
thing.
Let's see if, oh God, I hate these websites. Oh my God.
Look at all those pop-ups. And Max
Look at
says,
this.
are you on Rumble? No, but I'm considering it. I know a lot of people say it's a good site to go to as an alternative.
Jesus.
So I might give that a
go.
go.
All right. So this, I want you to look at what this doomsday fish is. Let's look at the wounds. Look at the size of this fish.
That fish is having a bad day. Look at him. Kind of looks like an eel. Oh, I don't know. It's kind of cute. I like the big eyes. I kind of want the divers to get a little bit closer so we can see the scale of this thing, because clearly it's bigger than a person.
Yeah, I don't need that nonsense. So I want you to look at this. God, just stop. Look at those crazy round holes on the fish. Now that's actually created by something called a cookie cutter shark. Now a cookie cutter shark is, it sounds cute, right? Like, oh, look, it's a cookie cutter shark. No, okay, because it's kind of got this round mouth and it digs in and then it does this and it literally bores holes in the flesh of its victim and they're perfectly circular. Okay, now let me get into the article real quick, but I'm going to share this first because I like to make things really complicated because that's, as Steve, that's
and Godzillionaire said it's an oarfish with a cookie cutter shark bite. Very
so
cool.
There you go. You all should be seeing that just fine. Purple, I'm going to go ahead and read the article so that we don't just have to stare at ridiculous ads, and bear with me because I have to scroll through. So this fish is called a harbinger of doom. Now it's a giant oarfish, which according to legend in Asia is a sign of impending earthquakes. Now, obviously, as we saw, it had mysterious holes in its body. Now, in this footage, it's taken off the coast of Rufang, Taiwan. Divers can be seen encircling this huge fish. So, and I have to scroll past all of the incontinence ads on. Divers estimated that the size of this doomsday earthquake fish is about 6.5 feet long, which is big, but it doesn't compare to their maximum size. These oarfish can get to be 56 feet long. 56 foot long oarfish, and it is the longest of any fish with a spine. Now, unfortunately, the oarfish's journey coming into the shallows where the divers could get to it is a problem. And the reason why is these fish only come up to the surface if they're dying or in distress. Normally, they are hanging out somewhere between 700 and 3,000 feet below the surface of the ocean. So that's why people call them a doomsday fish. When they start rising up into the shallows where divers can access them, it's because something's going wrong in driving them up. Now, this seismic superstition is based upon Japanese mythology, which states that the slender plankton-eating oarfish intentionally rise to the surface and beach themselves ahead of an impending major tremor or earthquake. Now, these fears were ramped up even more when in 2011, the Fukushima disaster happened, has dozens of these oarfish beach themselves on Japan. That's why people claim it's a doomsday fish. So I just thought that was crazy. I just thought that was crazy. What does chat think about this? What's going on in chat?
Chat are very impressed. So it says Godzillionaire says 56 feet, and that's in cold water.
Could you imagine the size of that fish stick?
Yes. Daniel says, can you imagine that?
Daniel and I are like Vulcan mind melding over here. Look at this. Daniel, reach out to me on Twitter. I need you. I want to get your opinion on something. But yeah, go ahead.
But that's awesome. Do you think that these oarfish are the possible origin for sea serpents? Because if these things get to 56 feet long, that's a sizable thing to spot, especially if you're in a small boat.
I mean, imagine this is kind of a baby. This is a teeny tiny little oarfish. Look at the diver next to him. Could you imagine 56 feet long of this damn thing, and they're down there. It's 700 feet to 3,000 feet. Like, humanity has to stop pretending that we got it all figured out and everybody needs to eat bugs and all this other horse shit. We just kind of need to enjoy this planet that we live on and stop doing dumb shit like they're doing. But that's just
we also shouldn't go down in fiberglass fake submarines, but that's another story.
Yeah, I had an article I was going to show about a Subway about a Subway restaurant chain, that makes the sandwiches, and they actually got in trouble for putting on their Subway sign. They said, "Our subs don't implode," which I thought was really cool, but I didn't want to be respectful to the families of.
Agreed. And Smile a While, great to see you. She says, "Can't stay with family, but wanted to say hello. I have to catch the restream late, so great to see you as always."
And look
you
at
guys
Daniel;
are
he's
awesome.
totally hitting on you. It's awesome.
Oh,
People love when you're on camera. You're very charming, and I think you're wonderful on camera, and I'm glad you got on today. So.
Thank you. Just trying to keep up with Salty, because Salty, he cares a lot. He does. No, says
I care. That's why I
care.
make the videos. Because I care. I give so much.
You give so much. You put so much effort in. You do. Seriously. Guys, please, if you're not subscribed to Salty, you're missing out. Snowdove says, "My kid could eat those fish sticks," and then ask for more. Teenager life.
I bet you he's grown like a foot since I saw him last year. Snowdove Jr., he's a force of nature. Cool kid.
He is. He's an awesome kid. But that's a fantastic story. And we've had, even today, we had a earthquake, didn't we, in Alaska? If I remember
we had
correctly.
a pretty major one. It was a 7.2, of course. That is on the Ring of Fire. Now, where this fish was found off Taiwan, it's essentially, if you draw an outline of the coasts on the Pacific Ocean going over to Asia, that is the Ring of Fire. It's been very active. It's also where I am here, the plate of Juan de Fuca, which when that thing goes, forget about it. We're all dead here. So, which is kind of why I live here, because it's like, I'm going to go out and rock and roll style like that. But obviously there's been a lot of activity, from what happened with that major tsunami and earthquake, where we all saw the video with the tsunami rushing in. You of course had Fukushima, that horrible disaster, which they're now releasing all of the radioactivity into the ocean, and
still
no all of it. They're just dumping into the ocean and said, "Don't worry, it's racist to worry about putting radio." We're not going to do that because I'm going to scream and yell.
Don't eat sushi in California.
Yeah. But this happened in Alaska off the Aleutian Islands. It was 7.2. It triggered a tsunami warning, but it was 13 miles off sea, and so it didn't actually generate a noteworthy tsunami wave activity. It was probably pretty substantial, but just like we talked about with Mount St. Helens, I mean, it's all kind of connected, The other thing too is note when the sun is really active, like the aurora has been incredibly strong here in North America. It's normally you all in Canada would see it, but here we've been seeing it in the United States and the northern states that border it quite a bit. But as the United Nations has told us, the sun has nothing to do with the weather on the planet or affects us in any way. So I can't say that on YouTube. So yeah.
Sarah Green says, "I'm just waiting for Yellowstone to blow."
I have a great documentary to watch on that. It was done by the BBC a number of years ago. Because I like to watch those things, because I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's pretty wild. When Yellowstone goes, it's not just North America. Although all of us in North America, we're going to freeze. Well, we're going to starve, and then
you guys will know about it first.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I'm just a little ray of sunshine. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, got to be prepared for every eventuality. Absolutely.
That's true. It's true. Are you going now, or am I going now? I forgot, because we talked about this before the show.
Let's go now. So since we're talking about the age of things and not knowing about the universe, I thought I'd go with this one. So this is part of the poll that I put up. So it says, new research puts age of the universe at 26.7 billion years.
So wait a minute. It's just a little bit younger than Joe Biden, for those following along at home. Okay, got it. All right.
Which is apparently nearly twice as old as previously believed. Don't you just love it when the numbers are slightly skewed or slightly off?
Trust the science. They're never wrong. They're never wrong.
Don't question anything ever. So it says our universe could be twice as old as current estimates, according to a new study that challenges the dominant cosmological model and sheds new light on the so-called impossible early galaxy problem.
There's a lot of impossible things that are very possible, okay? And we don't even have to go back to the 80s for that. We can just go back to, let's say, the last 5 or 10 years with a lot of the crap that they told us was true. And yes, no, Deb, you're right. I do need to worry about the Cascadia event. And I don't worry about it. I actually embrace it. I embrace it because that's what it means to be human, you know? Like,
yes, and up until recently, I didn't know what the Cascadia subduction zone was, and
we should do a show just on that.
Yes,
it's interesting, Snowdub, because a lot of these Cascadia videos that I watched several years ago have now been edited, and they've been edited to remove the failure that will be from the federal government and the Canadian government in responding to events like this, which is I just find really fascinating. Like, they leave out the whole part of like, and then you die because no one's coming to help you, you know? But anyway, I'm going to park that right there and I'm going to shut up. So go ahead. Purple, yeah.
Not going to have the Mad Max post-apocalypse that we would all hope for. It's just going to be a really bad time all around. So the work was published in the rather snappily titled Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? And it says our newly devised model stretches the galaxy formation time by several billion years. It's easy to make that mistake, making the universe 26.7 billion years old and not 13.7 as previously estimated.
What's crazy is Voyager 1 and 2 just passed out of the farthest reaches of our interstellar space and out into outer space. And all of the things that they believed for decades are wrong. Like about how things work, and that there's no weird noise in space, and that there's dilations of things, and a lot of stuff that people said Einstein was wrong about, and then they're even finding more things. But they don't talk about that. You know, I mean, like, they're too busy worrying about misgendering people and yeah,
and cow farts and other
You'll own nothing and like it.
Eat the bugs. Eat
except
the
for
bugs.
the lizard people who are into
who may or not be on planes.
Someday we're gonna I'm not gonna do it on your channel. I'm not doing it. All right, okay.
I love that. That's one of my favorites recently. That's a story that just keeps on going. But getting back to the age of the universe, for years, astronomers and physicists have calculated the age of our universe by measuring the time elapsed since the Big Bang, and by studying the oldest stars based on the redshift of light coming from distant galaxies. Okay, in 2021, thanks to new techniques and advances in technology, the age of our universe was thus estimated at 13.97 billion years using the Lambda CDM concordance model. Now,
of course, I used,
but who knew?
I use that. That's an accordion. I think that's it's a typo. Godzillionaire says, I'm most worried about a massive solar flare that would be a coronal mass ejection that will put us back into the Stone Age overnight. Well, as long as it's planet wide, I'm okay with it. What I think a nightmare scenario would be was it would only hit North America. Just going to park that right there. You all can figure out the geography of why they say that. Dempsey says, interesting how the universe has objects that are older than the Big Bang. I suppose that expansion may be wrong too, perhaps. These are theories. These are all theories, you know? And I think they all have merit. You know, I think there's a lot of merit to a lot of things.
Well, that's the thing, and we've talked about it.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Percival? Did we get nuked?
No, still here.
All right, because you froze. Okay, now you're back. All right, okay.
No worries.
Okay.
It's probably YouTube just checking up on us as they
usually
do.
I was talking about my climate.
My climate change and bugs and so much stuff I want to talk about that YouTube just goes and pulls the plug on. It's a shame.
Like the Crimea.
Yeah.
People going, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it on your channel. I'm not going to do it.
We'll do it eventually when I really want to blow up the channel and just.
I'll do we need to do a member stream and talk about all the stuff that's going on, because there's a lot to pay attention to that's happening right now. It's part of something called polycrisis. And Salty's not just, Salty is not making shit up. Just be aware, okay, of all these things. But let's get back to this article. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. It's I was just saying that back, I missed the time when we had scientists that actually challenged ideas that previous scientists had, rather than just kind of play along for grants the way they do now. So the fact that this is now coming out, that they're actually willing to admit that, yeah, we may have actually got this wrong, and the universe is far older than we first thought. What else have they gotten wrong, and what else are they willing to admit to have got wrong?
I can think of about 40 things right now, none of which I can talk about on YouTube, but that because it's not my channel. And yeah, Sarah Green says you never have to make anything up. Current events are a wellspring of stupid on a galactic scale. I would love to think it was just incompetence, but I'd say it's pretty deliberate, considering all the conferences they're having talking about what they're going to do to all of us. And so when someone tells me they're going to do something to me, and then I say, I don't want you to do all those horrible things to me, that is not being a conspiracy theorist. Okay. Just gonna park that
conspiracy
right
if they're telling
there.
you it's going to happen. Yes, absolutely. And McCracken, you're absolutely right. Big Brother is always watching.
They got nothing better to do. If we misgender, we're going to be in some big trouble, mister. I'll tell you that.
Max Relax says, watch Randall Carson. We always do. Big fans. Humanity has probably been far more civilized about 14,000 years ago compared to 10,000 years ago. We've talked about that quite a bit as well.
A long time. That fossil evidence I indicated for not just the mammoth remains in California they discovered on a roadway, but also a series of tools from human settlements that were in California 30,000 years ago. There is research white papers that have been reviewed that show human civilization in greater forms than just banging rocks together, going back a couple 100,000 years. It's, it's just, can we all just be human? Let's not be transhuman. Let's not be part of the Internet of Things and have shit shoved in our body and chop things up. Could we just be human again? Because being human worked out pretty well.
Yeah, as a species we've done pretty well up until now.
No,
I mean, there's always been a little bit of a wobble, and if you look back through history, there are certain telltale signs of when society's not doing very well. And
kind of like now,
yeah,
kind of like with all the concepts of everything, exactly. Think about the things they're doing,
social norms.
The family, kids, all that. That's when civilizations do this. It's not a gentle landing. It's literally boom. So.
But on the plus side, it always rebounds stronger eventually. So I guess that's a silver lining.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Let's see how many quotes we can fit into this show.
That's no mood, it's a space station. All right, I'll stop.
So to wrap up this article, it says, however, many scientists have been puzzled by the existence of stars like the Methuselah that appear to be older than the estimated age of our universe. That's a problem. And by the discovery of early galaxies in an advanced state of evolution made possible by the James Webb Telescope, which is a really cool thing that we've covered on previous shows. These galaxies, existing a mere 300 million years or so after the Big Bang, appear to have a level of maturity and mass typically associated with billions of years of cosmic evolution. Furthermore, they're surprisingly small in size, nothing wrong with that, adding another layer of mystery to this equation. So
they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's what this article confirms. I mean, they always seem to know. Oh, I'm not going to do that. It's your channel, but yeah, it's just like dinosaurs. Like, oh well, the science is settled until we found this where it shouldn't be. Well, everything we just said works if you just leave all that out. Okay, like stop being a racist. And this is the same thing they're doing here. It's kind of stupid, and the problem is it's absolutely part of what are some of the worst parts of being human, is that kind of idiocy and the need to control and dominate, regardless of whether or not it's right or not. You're seeing a lot of that right now, especially in the United States, Canada, and Europe.
Agreed.
I'm now going to sweep us around the globe, and we are going to go to Antarctica. We talked about this, Purple Valkyrie, with the show that we did, talking about the disclosure thing that went down. You all may have noticed that there seems to be, in my opinion, an algorithm keeping keeping UFOs in disclosure and all of this UFO stuff in the news cycle for some reason, when formerly this was never anything that any legitimate news organization would talk about. I'm going to say it one more time. Beware the events happening right now in the Crimea, and then look, if that goes really bad, and you know what I mean, I would say that the aliens will show up and say that they need a one world government to deal with. And thank God we've got people who want that one world government, who the aliens will deal with directly, so that we all can own nothing and like it and eat bugs and not have carbon.
And live in pods, yes, and not own gardens.
Those of us who are lucky enough to be deemed worth living because we're the carbon they want to get rid of. This comes to us from jhu.edu, and this is the Materials Science Division. Said, seeing red, researchers uncover the centuries-old mystery of the Blood Falls of Antarctica. What makes this glacier waterfall in Antarctica turn red? Those surviving people who work at Johns Hopkins and are not murdered in the streets of Baltimore have the answer for us.
Run the gauntlet every time they go to work. It's amazing.
So this was first discovered by the Terra Nova expedition way back in 1911. This was led by a British geologist, Thomas Griffin Taylor, and he made this mysterious discovery at the rocky base of a glacier that now bears his name. There was a waterfall full of what appeared to be blood in the middle of Antarctica. Discharged from beneath the ice at the glacier's tongue, the water emerges clear, but then quickly turns bright red or crimson. Now, more than a century later, this phenomenon that Taylor dubbed the Blood Falls has captured people's imagination and remained a scientific mystery until now. Now, Johns Hopkins sent people and they examined the solids of the Blood Falls water and found an abundance of not blood, but tiny iron-rich nanospheres.
Okay.
Which oxidize, turning the water seemingly gory. Now, nanospheres are extraordinarily tiny, round objects, 1/100th the size of a human red blood cell in the Antarctic, with unique physical and chemical characteristics. The researcher said, quote, as soon as I looked at the microscope images, I noticed that there were all these little nanospheres and that they were iron rich and that they have a lot of different elements in them besides iron, including silicon, calcium, aluminum, and sodium. They all varied.
Interesting. Your Barmy says I want to drink from the Blood Falls.
I do too.
Would you recommend it, Salty? It seems like there's a lot of nutrients and it's very heavy mineral rich.
Yeah. So this is it's a science. This is kind of a quasi white paper, and I'm not going to bore you all with it. But really, what this comes down to is that the ancient iron and salt rich waters under the glaciers in Antarctica are host to strains of bacteria that may have not changed for millennia. Okay, this has been here millions of years, and now we're messing with it.
And we've covered this in we've touched on this in previous shows, but I think we will eventually do a show dedicated entirely to the weirdness that is Antarctica and why it's changed and why so many people are so interested in what's under this ice and under the continent and what was actually attached to Antarctica way, way back in the past.
Yeah, I'm going to give you something to look at while I go through some of this, because you need to understand the scope and the scale of this, because I can sit here and go, la, 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 who gives a shit, right?
Absolutely.
This is what it looks like.
Let me bring that up. Wow. Okay, that's kind of freaky looking.
This is in the middle of the Antarctic, guys. This is literally, can you imagine seeing this? It's like the ice is bleeding.
I can make a joke about seeing that every month, but I won't.
Oh, wow. No, see, she's savage. Like, I'm just this nice Christian boy. I don't ever swear. I don't make dirty jokes. This British lady up here is dropping menstruation jokes. I like about glaciers. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. So I can do this. I know how to YouTube. Oh, Jesus, did I close what it was?
Max said I beat him to it. And let me say hello to MVP, Max Van Priestley, who has just had a birthday recently. So happy birthday. Great to see you as always.
Thanks for having me on, dude. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, these ancient iron and salt-rich waters under the glacier are host to strains of bacteria that have not changed for millions of years. Scientists believe that understanding this highly unusual environment and its life forms could also inform in the search of an understanding life on other planets. It's crazy. In fact, the researcher and expert on planetary materials came to tackle the mystery of Blood Falls. Yeah, they're looking at this for the Mars missions. Like, and what kind of crazy stuff could they find? Because they say there's water on Mars. So if it's full of all of these nanospheres and with all these other chemical elements, like, could you even purify it? Because the level of filtration required to get out nano particles out of water is very, very different than standard things you would do in extracting water. Okay.
Yeah.
But then I'm not a hydrologist, so I can't get into the stuff over there. But I thought this was fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It is freaky looking. Of all the things that I expected to see when I was looking at Antarctic, I'm going to give you one more shot because this is cool. This is definitely a heavy flow day here. There you go. Let's look at that one.
Let me bring that one up. Okay, that's a great shot. And
it's pretty weird.
Is it just in this one area? This is the only known red blood fall that
I believe so. And again, there are so many things in Antarctic that are weird, including that incredibly deep lake where magnetism kind of gets all freaky and stuff like that. And it's been rumored there's time dilation related to it. There's a reason why the Chinese are racing down there. There's a reason too why India, the nation of India, just sent up a rocket to evaluate what's going on into there with a satellite with a bunch of advanced geostationary stuff to monitor what's going on there, just in Antarctica.
It's also a reason why you're not allowed to fly over it.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do a show on this, but Purple Valkyrie, I don't know. So. I thought this was freaky, weird, crazy stuff.
It is. It's definitely right up our alley, and I knew of it, but to see the pictures and to see the scope and scale of this thing, and I can't imagine what they first thought when they came across it. You know, you're minding your own business, you've just landed on Antarctica, you're wandering around, and boom, blood red waterfall.
1911 was the first time this thing was discovered, less than 100 years ago. So the show was a lot of fun today. You got one more article, or are you good?
Yeah, we can do one more if you guys are up for it. You up for it, Salty?
No, I hate doing this. Yes, of course. Let's go. Come on, Jesus. Come on, everybody.
All right. We will leave it on one of my favorite integrity journalists.
Why did we save this for last? Oh my God. Wait a minute. Whoa. Go back. What is, look at that. Eaten by bears, ripped apart by lions.
Killed by tribesmen and falling foul to a cannibal. The adventure trips that ended in death. I'm guessing it didn't all happen to one person.
Holy cow. Oh my God. Tell me more. Tell me more.
So this is in sparks adventure tourism in regards to the ill-fated Titan disaster that has just happened. So let's see what they've got to say. I gotta hit this site. Debris and presumed human remains of the Titan were recovered this week and returned to land after international search and rescue operation finished. I'm not going to go into that too much. Guys, if you were tracking it, you know what happened, and you also know that they weren't exactly honest with us for several days.
But they were multicultural in their hiring practices, which of course it's more important to hire someone based upon their skin color and sexuality than it is in the actual qualifications to be an engineer or a pilot of a submersible vehicle. Okay.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what counts, really?
Yeah, you want to know why Disney's the situation it is? The same as the stuff.
Yeah.
I want to know about
cannibals. Let's see what this says. So, while some hailed such underwater trips as part of a new chapter in marine exploration, bad idea, others pointed to safety concerns that were raised years before the watercraft went missing. Throughout history, there have been countless tales of human adventurers ending in horrific circumstances. Oh, hell yes, there have. From an adventurer eaten by the bears he loved, we've covered that as well, to an
that
intrepid...
dick. Yeah.
Yeah. Bad idea. Grizzlies aren't your friend. To an intrepid kayaker killed by a remote tribe. Here on Mail Online, they look at tragic deaths of adventurers over the years. So what have they got for us? God,
give me the tragedy. Give me the tragic. Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
US kayaker killed by bow and arrow wielding tribesmen.
This wasn't like in the 50s or 60s. This was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, this was 2018. Let's see what happened to this fella. So, American Christian missionary John Allen Chow, who was 26, was shot dead with arrows in November 2018 by tribesmen when he arrived at the North Sentinel Islands, one of the world's most isolated regions in India's Andaman Islands that is off limits to visitors. So why did he go there in the first place? Bad idea. He had paid local fishermen to take him there before making the rest of the journey to the shore alone in a kayak on November 15th. Chow introduced himself to some of the members of the tribe, then paddled away quickly when they began stringing their bows. Not quickly enough.
So he went back. Look at him. He went back.
He went back because you would, wouldn't you?
With
on another visit.
Footballs.
God. So he decided to come back bearing gifts this time. He interacted with some of the tribespeople, offering them gifts such as a football and fish, but they became angry and a boy shot an arrow at him, hitting the Bible he was carrying, and he hastily retreated. Not to be deterred by this, he made his way back to the island the following day, which is when they decided that they'd had enough of this guy visiting them, basically.
Yeah. So I would love if this guy was doing it to be on TikTok. This looks like the type of person who would go to a cannibal island because he wanted to show it on TikTok. So this guy got shot up with arrows by a bunch of tribespeople who tried to warn him off. It's called natural selection. Selection.
That's a Darwin Award if I ever saw one.
Yep.
Yeah, leave people alone if they don't want to interact with you. It's okay. Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
As if being in a helicopter crash wasn't bad enough, apparently this person was then eaten by brown bears. Now that's quite a crash. I mean, it's not really something that you walk away from by the looks of it, but let's have a look what this says. So, a former Russian biathlon star turned pilot and 2 wealthy Russian tourists on a sightseeing trip were killed in a helicopter crash in July 2022 before being dragged away and gnawed by bears.
This is a year ago. This is a year ago. This isn't in the 80s or the 70s. This just happened.
So this fellow was piloting the helicopter in the popular tourist region of Kamchatka when it came down on Kamchatka. When it came down on July 16th. Communications were lost with the helicopter due to bad weather. It's believed to have caught fire and it crashed into the ground. As it does. 2 of the passengers were an elite tourist trip identified as well-known businesswoman and...
Are you going to try it? You going to try it? Okay,
no,
good.
Not at all, no. And a mobile phone company executive as well. So the rescuers found the charred remains of the helicopter in the valley. But did they find the remains of
Look
the
at him. He's a Chad,
board?
though. Look at him. It seems like a legit guy. Look at this guy.
He looks like he could take on a bear, had he not just crashed a helicopter. One or the other, but both at the same time? No, clearly not. Let's see. Oh God, there's Timothy Treadwell.
Do we even have to talk about this dipshit? Because this is just stupidity on a whole other level.
It is.
It's so dumb.
It is. There's a really good documentary about him that I would recommend watching.
Just watch the end. Spoiler alerts. The bears eat his ass. Okay. And his girlfriend, who's screaming in the tent. Then it's his fault.
It is
Or
absolutely
is that
his fault.
insensitive? Is that insensitive? I don't know.
No, no, it's not. No. So the wreckage was discovered on July 17th, the day after the crash, some 8 miles away from the Uzan volcano. Pictures showed mangled metal and scorched earth at the site where the helicopter went down. The remains of the tourists after the crash were dragged away by bears. Not surprisingly, human remains were then reported to have been found away from the crash site.
It's Kamchatka. It's one of the wildest places on Earth. There's also a tremendous amount of rare earth minerals, oil, gas deposits, gold, silver, all in that peninsula. It's the peninsula of Russia that is probably the most Pacific part. It's like a huge part that sticks out into the Pacific Ocean. Remarkable biodiversity, remarkable, just pretty much untouched at this point. So it's fascinating. It is really kind of nowhere, in the best sense possible.
The chat are running with it. Awesome One said, barely made it. Sarah Green says, death by eaten by grizzlies. What a grisly end.
Dun, dun.
You guys are awesome. What else have we got? Smileawhile says, go read End of the Spear. It's about a tribe who killed the missionaries that came to them but became Christians when a martyr's wife came years later, and to this tribe's shock, actually forgave them. Well, there you go. I'll give that a go.
But I'm an asshole, so.
So what's this one? So this one is crushed to death in a frozen cave. Yeah, that'll do it. I bet they were where they shouldn't be. And this again was from 2022. People
These are new.
Things. These are
that was in Argentina too.
Yes.
I mean, again, all of these things are not like from doesn't cherry pick from like decades ago. This is people doing, I would say, like, I enjoy thrill seeking, but not like this. I mean, I've fallen through a glacier before, and this was 20 years ago. It's a true story. I fell through and fell 25 feet into thin ice, and the only reason I'm still here is because I was standing next to a tree. I thought that was in the ground. That was the top of a very tall tree that had grown through the glacier. So I fell down through, hitting every branch, every stupid branch, make the joke. And it was scraped all to hell. But that tree, and falling through all those branches in the ice and the snow to this hollowed out void underneath this glacier is what saved me. And it's really trippy to be under a glacier like that, looking up through the ice, because it's blue and it's dark, and then and then you get claustrophobic as hell, and you're like, all right, where's the sun? And so luckily I could see daylight over there, and then I got out, and some friends helped me out through some ropes out there. But that's a true story, and I was like, okay, well, I can check. Like, I don't need to tempt fate with this shit anymore. Like, salty's, like that's one get out of jail free card that's never can be redeemed again. But it's crazy, and it's like, you would never catch me going into some of these places. I mean, I don't know.
And I'm seeing a lot of these are either human error or just plain stupidity, and this seems to fall into that category. So it says a tourist was killed on November 2nd, 2022 after a huge block of ice from a frozen cave smashed down onto his head in Argentina. That'll do it.
It's terrible. It's just I'm laughing from horror, not because it's ridiculous that. Never mind. I'm not gonna. Everybody think I'm a bigger asshole than I already am. I don't get it. I don't get this stuff.
I don't. So the Brazilian man was exploring the Jimbo Cave, known as the Ice Cave.
Jim, I want to go explore Jimbo's Cave.
It's known as the Ice Cave in the Andorra Valley, when he was struck by the ice that fell from a height of 50 feet. Another hiker was filming the moment when tragedy struck, as they ignored, keyword, signs warning them to stay away from the off-limit area.
Why are they always filming themselves doing really stupid things to put on the internet, and then something happens? How does a block of ice just fall 50 feet on your head in a cave which has steady temperature? Okay, there's no harmonics, there was no earthquake when this happened. I'm guessing somebody was like trying to throw rocks at something to get that big chunk of ice to fall down and miscalculated, and it killed them. That's my guess. You're
most likely right. So it says the hiker was filming the moment tragedy struck. The footage shows that the unnamed victim walking towards the mouth of the cave and opening under the glacier, as one of his companions warned him to take care. No, you don't say so. Some members of the group appeared to stop and heed the warning momentarily before moving forward again, but the person at the front seemed to pay no attention and carried on walking towards the cave whilst recording on his mobile phone. Suddenly, the ice roof cracked and a huge chunk plummeted to the ground directly on top of the explorer. Yeah.
I hope TikTok loved it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Imagine how many views. Crazy.
Oh, all right. We got one more. Okay, good.
We got one more. So, eaten and killed by cannibals.
Jesus Christ.
Here we go. So this is a German tourist and his girlfriend. So a German tourist, Stefan Ramin, and his girlfriend Heike Dorsch had been on an island hopping adventure in the South Pacific when he was killed on October 9th, 2011. Again,
so it's 20 years ago.
Relatively recent one.
No, 10 years ago. Never mind. I can't do math. Everybody knows that.
That's all right. I can't do English. The crime shocked the tiny island of Nukuhiva, which with a population of just slightly more than 2,000. It was previously best known from the stories of Herman Melville, author of Moby Dick.
Yeah. All those racist stories about cannibals, we have to fix that. Disney, you have to fix that. Yeah.
So this is kind of graphic. I'm not going to read all of it, but suffice to say that they had a bad time of it, unfortunately. Again, people going where they shouldn't be and bothering people that they really had no business bothering. Guys, if they say leave people alone, then please leave people alone because they don't want to interact with
Gen
them.
X we didn't do this stuff. I mean, we didn't do that. This seems to be a millennial thing, and it's probably a dick thing for me to say, and yet it's probably also true. I don't know. English is hard. It's true.
You are not wrong, awesome one. You are not wrong indeed. So, should we end on this one with the lion?
Is this another remake of the Jungle Book that Disney's doing? All right, let's wrap up.
Better than the Lion King, or this could be the new Chronicles of Narnia that they've got coming out.
No, because that tiger would be pink because it's done by Greta Gerwig, the same nitwit who's doing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's a true story. She's also doing Barbie.
Yes.
Media's not telling you that. Be advised.
Funny that, yeah. So let's see. But a British man, hey, there we go, was torn to shreds by a pride of 12 lions whilst on a safari in Zimbabwe. The 19-year-old died after he slept with his tent open, breaking the rules of the safari. I mean, okay, I guess you can do that.
Was the fact that the tent unzipped how the lions got in and ate him? I mean, because I'm trying to struggle with the correlation between the tent being unzipped and 12 lions tearing his 19-year-old ass apart.
So this fellow was actually on a gap year, and he was savaged after one of the lions entered his tent on the shores of the lake. In a terrified state, he then ran from the tent, only to be set upon by another 11 lions who were apparently hanging around outside waiting.
I've had cats before, and when you have things run across the floor, guess what they do? You guys who have cats all know it's fun. It's a game. Yeah.
So safari guides attempted to warn the big cats off by lighting flares, driving a Land Rover at them, and setting a shirt on fire. Hopefully they weren't wearing it at the time, but at this point, who knows? So inquests heard that the guy Playdal Bouvier ran from his tent after the lion stuck its head inside. I mean, that'll do it, but don't have your tent open in the first place. It wouldn't have happened. So David Boyle, one of the tourists, said in a statement, "I woke up to go to the toilet. I heard a long yowl, but didn't know if it was human or animal. The yowl was long and loud and suddenly cut off, followed by the prolonged sound of growling animals," which I assumed was lions. He assumed correctly. So, yeah, this fellow, again, didn't obey the rules and paid for it with his life, unfortunately.
The mauling took just 30 seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah.
These are big animals. They're big predators. They live to chase down things that run much faster than them. When they get you, you know, you're talking about a like, I wouldn't call it shark feeding, but you know, nature's beautiful. Nature's wonderful. But that doesn't mean you need to go out and coat yourself in barbecue sauce and ring a dinner bell and then act surprised when that eats your ass, because it happens. You have respect for the mountains, have respect for the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, have respect for a cliff face, you know, with your selfie stick where you're trying to get the perfect picture of you leaning out over the Grand Canyon.
Yes. Don't jump over the guardrails as people seem to keep doing at the moment.
Yeah, they're doing it at Yellowstone. Somebody stuck their hand into a boiling hot geyser and had to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
It's boiling hot. What do you need to check? You know.
Yeah, and don't pet the buffalo or bison. Leave them alone.
Yeah. This is a good show today.
Yeah,
we covered a lot of cool stuff. We had a great chat. You guys have been dropping comments, and that's why I had to go off camera a lot, because I'm laughing at like the crazy stuff you're saying. It's great to see everybody here.
Before we wrap up, let's see what we got with this poll. So let me end it. Oh. So we asked earlier, what do you find more believable? So do you find, with 47 votes, we got 46% the universe being older than we thought. Coming in at a close second with 38% was UFOs being a news distraction. The Doomsday Fish, which was kind of awesome, got 10%.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Prophet. Thanks for your votes.
And the alien mermaids bring up the rear with 4%. So thank you.
I bet you Nerdporial did that. Brian, tell me, did you vote on that? We have to just text me later. Just let me know. I want to know who voted for the mermaids. What a fun show. We covered so many cool topics. I you know, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that mermaid thing. That skull does not
That thing's weird. That thing's really
I see seals and walruses and sea lions all the time. That is not the skull of one of those things. I don't know what the hell it is. But, and then of course the bloody falls of the Antarctic. I mean, this is just nuts. This is just nuts.
Yes, I can't wait to do that dedicated show about the Antarctic, and I'd really like to do one about the megafauna that we've talked about as well. So I think that would be a lot of fun. But guys, thank you. Let me say a massive thank you to the man who always brings the esoteric knowledge, Salty Traveling Sea. What have you got coming up? Because I know you've been working really hard on Wheel of Time at the moment.
You know, I'm going to be doing some interview stuff with some people on Robert Jordan's books, probably. And I don't know, you know, just kind of hanging out. I really appreciate you doing this stream today. I have missed doing these with you. It's a lot of fun to talk about this stuff with you. You are a very talented and creative woman who is wonderful to work with. So I'm just, again, this was a lot of fun. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you, and thank you guys for the chat. You are amazing. We had some fantastic comments, and Max says, I had no idea you guys appreciate Randall Carlson. Always like Purple Valkyrie, but knowing this makes me like the both of you even more. Well, thank you. Yeah, we definitely need to do a Randall Carlson.
We'll circle back again on it, because we've covered it many times before in many different permutations of it. Not just Randall Carlson, but the other gentleman who did, I would say, a lackluster show. I think it was on Netflix. Do you remember what that was? He tried to it's but we'll go back to that. Graham Hancock, and I have a bunch of his books behind me. There's a lot. There's a lot. Ancient Asteroid Impacts, I think at this point, I think it's pretty obvious. We'll say that.
It is. But, and I still want to do something about the missing 411. Globby! Good to
I told
see
you I'd get her back on YouTube, Claudia. I told you.
He did. So guys, please, if you're not subscribed to Salty, do so, because he's pumping out some amazing videos. Guys, there's a lot of people working really, really hard on YouTube at the moment, so give them your support. A lot of you in the chat channels, and I'm really proud of everybody. So we will be back very soon. There will be more woo-woo. Whether it's weekend or weekday, we will see, but I'm not giving up. It was just a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm very, very glad to be back and hanging out with you guys. So have a fantastic rest of your evening. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will be back very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Adios.